co-op in an RPG game. Now, imagine you have this scenario. Josh here is a friend of mine, he comes round, and I say, "Hi Josh, you're round for a beer, are you? I'm really playing Fable 2, I don't want you to be here." Well, now I can say, "Hey Josh, grab that controller and press this start button." That person then, if you just do that now, Josh, that person then comes into this world. It's totally dynamic co-oping. You can come in for 5 minutes or 5 hours. If you've come from your own Fable world that's on this box, you will import the person that comes in, this henchman, will be based upon your hero. Fable 2 allows you to take stuff back into your own game, and that is a very, very cool feature. You can even negotiate between the two of you. If I'm a pretty cool player, a pretty good player, I'll say to Josh, "Hey, you can have 60% of the gold that we earn together as a team." So you can negotiate this figure between the two of you. Anyway, well, just press the green button, and we're back in there now. So here Josh is. This is us, and we're completely free to use it. He's completely free to do anything in this world that I can do. We can emote and use expressions. So I can do this, or I can do that. Point and laugh at him. All of these expressions people in the world react to, and I'm going to show you that in a little bit later on. Anyway, that's just that little tiny thing. I'm now going to take Josh and introduce him to my husband. Yes, I am a woman. That's not a confession. I decided to play a woman character in Fable. You have the choice of playing a woman or a man at the start of the game. That has caused us an enormous amount of work, having two characters, because you have to balance the game twice. This woman that I've got here is fully morphable in every sense of the word. We have extreme morphs now. We're not showing that until E3. So she'll get fatter and thinner and stronger and look more evil or look more good, but she just happens to be a woman, and this woman can do exactly what a man can do. She can chat up people in the world. So at one point in the game, about 5 years ago, I went in, I chatted up a bloke, we got married, we moved into this little hovel together, we had unprotected sex, and I ended up pregnant. It's a little bit weird. It's, again, this is not a confession here. It's a little bit weird to have that, to be a hero fighting knowing that you're pregnant, but 9 months later, out popped a little baby, and we're going to now meet my son in the game. Anyway, let's go and do that now. So, here we go. If anyone's got any questions, by the way, stop me, and I'm only too happy to answer them. You can see how the co-oping works. It's a little bit like Lego Star Wars. It tries to maintain the right screen position for us both. You'll also see there is a refreshing lack of interface in Fable. There's this, which is the emoting bit down, which would fade away after a little while, because we've just done emoting for a while, expressions, that would fade away, and there's nothing else. Now, you may be wondering, how do I find my way around the world? To talk about that later on if there's any questions. But I've also got my dog here. He is warning me about something. He is part of the game interface, this dog. Not only is he the most amazing artificial intelligence thing in a game ever, but he's also part of the interface. He will show things that are different and wrong in the world. He will guide me to a certain extent on where to go. And he's warning me now that something's not right. I can completely ignore that. And this is all about what makes Fable 2 a great game. You're completely free as a player to ignore these things that we're putting down for you. And so I could ignore that, or what I could do is investigate it. Now the way I investigate it is to follow my dog's lead, but we've also got a little bit of the interface coming up here. It's called the look at trigger, and that means if I hold this trigger down at any point in time, I will see something interesting. At this point in time, it will show me hidden in this barn are two of our creatures called hobs, which we were discussing some heinous plan. We will go and kill them, just like what adventurers do. Josh, what combat do you want to use?
I think we'll use the guns.
You use the guns, yes. Okay, off we go. Who gets one hit in? I missed, damn it. Fast, yeah. So he's now going to, that little experience on the ground, that is what the currency that we get from leveling up. The more of that stuff you pick up, the more levels you'll go up. That stuff gets bigger, the smarter and better that you are at combat. If you do cool moves, if you swing the sword and then bring out and shoot somebody on one move, because you're completely free to blend combat styles together, you'll get more experience. And that's how we can make a super simple combat system be very, very deep. Anyway, let's show some of that off and go in here. And this is, if anyone saw my E3 talk, this is Crescendo Combat with Hobbs with 2 players. So Josh is going to use the sword, and I'm going to support him with the gun. If we're smart, we can keep on doubling our experience. If Josh hits something up in the air and I shoot it with my gun while it's in the air, I get double the experience. If he pushes someone back against the tree and then I catch them with my sword, I get double the experience again. So this doubling up means that you get much more. He's doing all the work because I'm talking. So that's just shooting these guys off. Anybody any questions about the combat? You can see how it's working. Josh is grabbing all that. All these are these little tiny cutscenes that are there. The game is still live in. You can actually shoot people in those little cutscenes. Let's just take out these last few. I'm going to switch the swords to take out. Oh, you took out the last one. Yeah. So he would get an extra bonus for getting the last person. So that's a combat situation with 2 players, which I'm incredibly proud about. And this co-op is going to be such a big thing. Anyway, let's stop doing fighting and let's go and meet my family. Now, as I said, my family is currently living in this little cottage here. When I first met my husband, I only owned a little house, a little tiny hovel in the slums of Bowerstone, and I've used my money to buy a better place and move my family in here. They 100% rely upon me for money. If I don't get money, they will starve. This game allows you to do some pretty horrible things. And one of the most horrible things that you can do, I can't show you, but I can talk about, is if your son or daughter is really hungry, they'll come up to you and say, "Daddy, I'm really hungry." You are completely free to take out a huge apple pie and eat it in front of your half-starving child and see what that child will do. Let's go and meet my son now. As I said, they're in here. I haven't been here for about 6 months, so it could be quite an emotional reunion.
Mom!
There he is. That's my son there. He's growing up. You will see him grow up through this game.
Oh, you've never come back. Don't ever leave us all alone.
Well,
Hey, I'm going to be an adventurer when I grow up. And I'll have a dog just like you.
you've got to say.
Dad, you lied. Mum didn't run off with a troll. See?
So now let's go and meet my husband. So that's a pretty nice reunion. Now, unfortunately, my husband
I was starting to wonder if you were still alive.
is a little bit of a nag. And this is, Josh and I was rehearsing this, and we decided that we were going to subject you to this nagging for a while, and then I was just going to run off. And then Josh did something.
We figured this out.
Yeah. He killed my husband. He caused my son to become fatherless. And that, actually, this wasn't part of the choreography, wasn't supposed to be part of the keynote, but we realised that really showed the amount of freedom that Fable actually has. Is to be able to do that, a henchman being able to do that in the game is unique. You've never, ever seen anything like that before in a game.
What's going to happen to your son now that he doesn't have a
That's a
father?
very interesting question. A lot of people are asking that. They're very worried about the son. What actually happens is, as soon as you leave the region, your kid is put into an orphanage. Now, you are free to go and visit that orphanage. Obviously, your fatherless son, is now not that happy anymore to see you, but there you go. You're also. You don't realise it, but I have another husband in another town, by the way. Any questions? I mean, this is why this. I think I've been saying this. Fable is different. It's just a different game to one games that you've played before. It does things like this in a different way. The combat is different. The interaction is different. The co-oping is different. Everything is just different, and that's really our dream. Is to make something which is different.
Is the co-op online?
I can't. I said I was keeping something up my sleeve, so I'm not. I'm telling you about couch co-op. I'm not telling you about anything else. Don't imagine that you know the full story, because you don't. I think Fable is really coming on. I mean, the graphical presentation is not finished yet. There's still layers of quality to go on the top, but I think the team has done a fantastic job. If we just go inside this house here, the very fact that you have the freedom to go inside houses and they're fully visually realised, I think is really, really cool. And the world is still going on outside, and that is, again, that's a real uniqueness.
Is there any kind of item trading you can do in co-op so that I can take clothes from her house and bring them into my
You
game?
you can gift. The only way you can get items out of people's worlds, but you the owner has to gift them. And the reason we found that is we found it being a henchman was a bit of too cataclysmic. It's kind of meant that when you invited in someone into your world, you end up not trusting them. So you can gift anything from the world, and you can then take it back to your world. Don't forget that the fact that you and I, when you're in my world, you're earning experience and gold for your world is a pretty big thing. No other co-op game does that.
And then, if I say like your woman character is mostly good and my character I bring in is evil,
yes.
How are people going to react to this? Do they react based on the main character, or?
Yes, they will, but they'll know. Other people will know that you're evil.
Okay.
And they'll be a bit suspicious of you hanging around with an evil person. So remember, everything you do, every little action makes a difference to your character. We're not going to overplay that, by the way, because what we don't want to do is discourage you. Incidentally, Fable 2, totally free roaming world. Every fence you can jump over, every cliff you can jump off. It looks like a place you can get to, you can get to it. Every building that you see, whether it be this house or this windmill, you can buy. And you can move your family into, you can rent it out, you can earn money for it.
Does the world and enemies scale at all when you have co-op?
There's a little bit of scaling in there. We're just playing around with that balance at the moment. I don't want to make co-op, twice as hard, because I think there's a very interesting scenario, and if you have someone who's a really experienced gamer playing with someone who's not an experienced gamer, I don't want those non-experienced players to feel dumb and stupid, because I think I've seen that in so many games. With my wife, I've tried to play games, but every co-op game there is requires her to be super skillful, and that's why I think Fable is